Okay, good morning to whoever is watching this video. My name is Dr. Mayambala. I am a clinical microbiology instructor at a local college, but I also teach human anatomy and physiology to nursing students and anyone who is in the allied health field preparing to go to dental school, medical school, become a scientist. So anyway, so any questions you have in those areas, I am your gal. Today, I want to touch a topic that is very pertinent to what we're dealing with, the pandemic. Everybody's talking about disinfecting their surfaces, their homes, their um, door handles, anything that you touch that needs to be disinfected to reduce the spread of this virus. But in general, any other infection, disinfectant is one of the best ways to mitigate it. And these are solutions that are used very commonly in the clinical environment and in the clinical lab. If you're going to be a medical technologist, this is something that you need to be very comfortable preparing. Today, you can also save yourself a lot of money instead of buying those wipes and prepared solutions, prepared disinfectants. You can make your own right at home. That's what I use in my own home. By just buying concentrated bleach from Clorox, the same bleach that you use for your laundry, and you dilute it down to a concentration that is enough to kill the organisms without spending a lot of money. I have 6 slides here that I prepared that you can follow along. The first slide shows the good old Clorox that we all know, but there's another reagent or chemical called ethanol, which is another name for alcohol, but in its pure form, not in the form that you drink it in beer or wine, but this is the pure form, 95%. So you can prepare either one of these at a lower concentration and they will be perfectly effective in disinfecting your surfaces. On this first slide, I have listed 3. Clorox, usually used at 10%. Ethanol or pure alcohol, usually used at 70%. And then there is isopropanol at 70%. But many places like Walmart, they also sell it at 70% as well as 90%. So basically, if you wanted to save yourself some money, you could prepare the 70%, you could buy the 90% isopropanol, then dilute it down to 70% and stretch your dollar just a little further. The trick is knowing how to do those dilutions, which is my topic today. The next slide basically just going over in detail, just like our 101 class in our understanding, what do we mean by percent? Percent means per 100. In plain language, it means that for every 100 parts of whatever you're working with, or whatever liquid you're working with, how many parts are concentrated and how many parts is water. Usually you're talking about liquids that have to be diluted down. So for example, when we talk about 10% bleach or 10% Clorox, we mean that for every 100 milliliters of total volume of liquid, out of that 100 mLs or milliliters, you're going to be adding, 10 of that 100 is going to be concentrated bleach that you bought from the store, and the rest is going to be water. So in other words, you'll be diluting that 10 milliliters down to 100 by adding 90 milliliters of water. Now, when we're talking about preparing a total volume of 100 milliliters, it's usually easy because you say 10% something, it means 10 plus 90. Or if it's 70% of something, it means 70 plus 30 to make a total of 100. for many students, I have found in the past is if I ask them to prepare a different volume of that 10% bleach, then you need to figure out how much bleach you're going to dilute down to the volume that I asked you to make. For example, so if I ask you to make only 25 milliliters total of 10% bleach, so you need to be able to tell me how you're going to put it together, how you're going to prepare that 25 mLs with a concentration of 10%. And the trick is you really need to prorate it. You go back and say if 100 milliliters of bleach, of 10% bleach, is going to require 10 milliliters of concentrate, then 25 is going to be a quarter of that 100, right? So everything is the concentrate. Instead of using 10 mLs, you're going to use a quarter of that 10 mLs. But an easier way of explaining it is this little formula that I put together. So if 100 mLs of 10% bleach requires 25 milliliters, you plug that 25 milliliters, 25 divided 100 times the percentage, and you get your answer. So it means for 25 milliliters, instead of adding 10 mLs of concentrated bleach, now you're just going to add only 2.5 milliliters of concentrated bleach, and you dilute that to 25. In other words, you're going to mix 2.5 milliliters of bleach plus 22.5 milliliters of water. 22.5 plus 2.5 equals 25. If you, for example, I ask you to make 40 milliliters of that same 10% bleach, all you'd have to do is plug in that 40. Instead of 25, you would put 40 mLs. And of course, you know, the 10% is the concentration I want, and then you figure out how much. In this case, it would be 4 mLs plus 36 milliliters of water. Now, when it comes to a disinfectant like 70% ethanol, it shouldn't be any different, because in this case, if I ask you to make 25 milliliters of 70% ethanol, you'd have the same volume of 25 milliliters in that little formula that you're looking at. But instead of the 10%, the concentration of the disinfectant I want you to make is 70%. So instead of having that 10% in the formula, you put 70, and it will be 25 divided by 100 times 70, and you'd get your answer. So in this case, it would be you'd be adding 17.5 milliliters of pure ethanol plus 7.5 milliliters of pure water. But again, if you follow this formula, it would be the best way to figure out how you prepare any different volumes of whether it's 10% bleach or 70% ethanol or any other solution for that matter. Now, slide 3 again is just kind of like going into detail of how to explain how you arrive at those different concentrations. It gives you the detailed example. It says to make 100 milliliters of 70% ethanol, you pour some water in a cylinder, you add 70 mLs of pure ethanol, and then you bring the volume to 100 milliliters. The scientific term we use is quantity sufficient, or QS. That means bring the volume to a total of 100 milliliters. And that is how you prepare your disinfectants. But again, remember, percent means parts per 100. The next 2 slides I put down. If you're preparing these disinfectants for your own home use, you're not going to have glassware like beakers and cylinders that we have in a clinical lab. So, you know, you can substitute those by, if you're a baker and you have a measuring cup for your baking, you can use that. It usually has markings for various volumes. And most of us, when we buy liquid medication, usually those are medicine packages contain a dosage cup. That dosage cup can either be 10 mLs, 20 mLs, or 30 mLs, and I show those 3 different dosages in various medicine dosage cups. So you can use one of those, you know, to measure out the concentrated disinfectant you're trying to dilute down. for your home use. And again, the most common one is 10% bleach. You can really save yourself a lot of money by just, diluting that bleach instead of buying those expensive disinfectants and wipes. The last slide is basically giving you a contact. If you have any questions on this video or any other clinical microbiology topic that you may have a question on, or human anatomy and physiology topic, send those questions to this email. You see there, WANKOKOS as in Sarah, the number 52 @gmail.com. And I'll be very happy to answer them. Again, any clinical microbiology questions are more than welcome for me to help you work through them step by step.